There was a couple cruising down Highway 313 heading towards Bernalillo one night. They noticed there was a lady walking in a white gown or a dress along the highway. They were kind of far in the distance. As they approached, the lady slowly put her thumb out to signal that she needed a ride from the couple. It was weird though, because she didn't turn her head to look at the car or anything. She just kept looking forward. She didn't look back or to the side, and the couple thought it was kind of strange. They kept getting closer and closer to the lady. They noticed she was wearing a white dress, and as soon as they were about to pass the lady lunged her body right in front of the couple's car. The couple felt a thump on the front wheels. They felt a thump in the back wheels. As soon as they were over, they immediately stopped. They were like, oh my God, we just ran someone over. They immediately got out of the car. They went to go check on the lady, but there was no one there. They looked all around. There was no one or nothing there. Terrified, they called the cops to let them know what they had saw. They said that they saw a lady and it appeared they ran her over. The police searched the whole area. There was nothing there. Now, who is this lady? Who could it be? Could it be the witch of Highway 313 that was from Bernalillo that people always talk about? We may never know. Other people have sightings too. But who is the witch of Highway 313? What is her story? Legend has it that Maria was a beautiful lady. She had dark brown skin, long curly hair, and she was known to be filled with smiles and happiness. She would walk along the bosque and pick wild flowers so she can give to the sick and the elderly to cheer them up. Maria was married to a merchant named Tomas. Tomas was a well-known merchant. He would travel all throughout New Mexico, south, east, north, and west. He would go all over the place, and people just knew Tomas, but he was hardly home. So Maria raised their two boys. They had two sons that she loved very much, and her sons loved her with all their heart, and they did everything together. They would help their mom cook. They would help their mom clean. They would walk with their mom along the arroyo to go help her pick flowers. They would even get extra flowers to take home because they all love flowers. They thought they were beautiful and they smelled good, and they just loved being around their mom, and everything just seemed perfect until one day the two brothers were playing by the ditch. One of the brothers fell into the ditch, so the brother ran over there to go grab adult help. But unfortunately, by the time he got back, the brother had passed away. He drowned, so it was too late. And Maria felt terrible about it. She was inside cooking and cleaning, but she felt like it was her fault. She could have done something to prevent it. She was a horrible mom. She should have kept the kids inside the house. And Tomas was horrible with that. He wasn't afraid to say that he felt like it was Maria's fault. It was Maria's fault 100% why their son was dead. And they would argue and they would fight all the time, and he would make Maria sad. Maria was no longer filled with happiness. She was filled with tears and sadness. And unfortunately, she would always argue with him every time he'd come home. And it got to the point where Tomas didn't even want to be home. He would stay out of town for months. Instead of just a week, he would be gone for months, and he would come back for a few days and he would go back because they would just argue so much when he was home. So they felt like it wasn't worth it. They were just always arguing, and Maria was slowly starting to hate Tomas too because he was always just accusing her of the son's death, and she already beat herself up over it, and she didn't need to hear it from Tomas because deep down inside she felt like it was his fault as well. Where was he? She felt, One day Tomas shows up, but Tomas ain't alone. Tomas has a different lady with him. Furious, Maria asks him, who is that lady? Tomas explains to Maria that he no longer loves her. Instead, he fell in love with this lady that he met on the road, and he plans on being with this lady. He's gonna leave Maria to be with this lady. Filled with sadness, Maria leaves and she goes for a walk along the ditch. She can't help but do nothing but cry. She's just so sad that she lost her son and now she lost her husband. So she goes back home, and Maria notices that Tomas ain't there no more. The lady's not there, and on top of it, her last surviving son is not there. She's worried. She runs outside as fast as she can. She goes and asks the neighbor, have you seen my son? Have you seen my son? And she explains that she did see her son. Her son, in fact, left with Tomas and that different lady. Furious at Tomas, at what he did, how could she take her last surviving son? She knew that was her heart. She was so upset with Tomas. She didn't know what to do. So furiously, she went and she talked to a bruja. And she asked the bruja to put a curse on Tomas. And she did put a curse on Tomas. And slowly after, Maria started learning brujeria on her own. And she would curse and curse Tomas. But the curses never worked. Tomas was always doing good. In fact, he was flourishing. His business was doing good. He was going to have a baby with a different lady that he left her with. And his life was good. Maria was upset with this. How could his life be so great with all the evil that he did? He did her dirty and he had to pay. So she did everything that she could to make his life hell. But nothing ever worked. He was just living his best life. So upset, Maria walked to a tree everyone would pass when you went to Bernalillo. It was south of Bernalillo. So as soon as you're going to Bernalillo, you would pass this tree, and Maria cursed Tomas one last time. And once she cursed Tomas, she hung herself from that tree. And anyone who goes to Bernalillo can see this tree. If you go and you're heading north up Highway 313, it's on the left-hand side right there. It's a single tree by itself. On the east side of it, there's the mountains, and you'll see a train track bridge right there. And that's where Maria hung herself. And to this day, people have reported seeing strange things all the way from Albuquerque up to Bernalillo and back and forth, especially right by that tree. And that tree is not hard to miss. You will see it on the left-hand side. It's on the west side of the road, and right when you see it, you'll feel a dip in the road. And they say that's where Maria hung herself, and that is the witch of Highway 313. Is that who people report seeing on the side of the road? Who knows? People have also reported seeing a gentleman in the back seat of their car when they look in the rear view mirror. They will be driving along the way, and as soon as they pass the tree, they look in the rear view mirror and they'll see a gentleman there, dressed like he's from the early 1800s with the cowboy hat and everything. Some people believe that this is Tomas. Could it be? We don't know. Who knows? The witch of Highway 313 and Tomas, maybe she did curse him. Maybe his soul got trapped there after he passed away. Maybe he flourished in life, but he had to pay for it in the afterlife. Who knows? But people report seeing strange things all the way from then till now. One lady reports that she was driving northbound up Highway 313 heading to Bernalillo one day, a little bit after the tree where Maria had hung herself, and she stated she saw a lady in a white gown. She decided to be nice because as a fellow woman, she wanted to make sure she was safe and that no one would pick her up. No weirdo would pick her up. No one would kidnap her, nothing like that. So this lady decided to pull over. This lady heard her door open and she felt the weight of her car shift a little bit as if someone sat in her back seat and it closed. As this woman looked in the rearview mirror, she didn't see no one back there at all. Terrified, she just left. She does not know what happened to this day. She cannot explain it. But she said that she heard the car and she felt the car move and she heard the door close. She cannot explain what happened, but no one was there. She saw the lady there and then she was just gone. She vanished. My mom also has a story from when she was driving northbound up the highway of 313 with my Auntie Candy when she was still alive. They were heading north to Bernalillo and her and my auntie reported seeing a light behind them. It seemed like it was a car and it would get really close and then it would go back and it would get really close and then it would go back. And they didn't know what it was, so my mom said she turned around to look to see what it was, and as she saw it, she saw the light just slowly fade away and it was gone. And she didn't know what it was. They couldn't explain it. They said it wasn't like a car, it was just one big bright light pretty much, and it kept going forward and in. And they don't know what it was to this day, which was kind of freaky to me, you know. And that story was true. I used to ride my bike through that highway as well when I was a teenager. I have family from Bernalillo. My dad's side's from Bernalillo, so I had cousins that were out there. I would go out there and visit them. And the buses would stop running pretty early on Sundays, and I just wanted to go hang out. So I'd ride my bicycle through Highway 313. I never saw no lady in white. I never saw Tomas. I never saw nothing like that, but I will tell you, I heard some crazy shit out there, man. I heard some coyotes. I heard stuff in the bushes. I could have swore I seen, you know, like shadows, but your mind plays tricks on you, especially when you're in the dark. But I could tell you this, is that highway is scary. For anyone to even just be walking down that highway, the road's so narrow and the cars go so fast and it's so dark down there, especially if you're a person like me who wears nothing but dark clothes, they can't see you. And they're hauling ass. I was almost ran over like 5 times every time I'd go down that highway just riding my bike because people are just hauling ass through there. And like I said, there's only that much road on the side of the shoulder of the road, so you got to walk along that. But yeah, I never saw nothing. It was really dark. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. That's how dark that highway gets. There's no lights. It's going through Sandia Pueblo. It's pretty dark out there. There's cops out there, but they're hidden. They do traffic and stuff. You hardly see them. They're just barely out there, and it's just so dark out there, and the nature's just so crazy. There's so much wildlife, and you can hear the wind in the mountains, and you don't know what it is, man, but there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. And if you guys have any stories that you guys have witnessed or you guys have heard, please leave them in the comments so we can know about them, guys. You guys have a good week, and thank you guys for listening to the story. This is the story of the Witch of Highway 313. You guys have a good week, man. You guys take care.